Way back then, the football club played just across the way there at Leeds Road and had a ground that was falling short of the Taylor report. And all of a sudden, this vision emerged from nowhere that Huddersfield should have an international stadium.
And I can remember all sorts of people coming in with the plans for the stadium and this, that and the other, and I thought, there's no way in a million years this is going to happen.
It took a brave man as chairman of the football club to come to the local authority and propose that we try and achieve something together.
The most striking example of, if you like, of the impact that Graham's had on that area has been the Galpharm Stadium.
It's interesting, if you think about Huddersfield, there's always characters around the town that you think about that have really contributed to the development of the town, and Graham's one of those.
I went in there not as a fan, I went in there as somebody that was determined to make a difference and run a business model, because it was apparent the whole industry wasn't a business and wasn't even thinking like a business in '89.
This project was always meant to be about more than providing a better home for two professional clubs. That's important in itself, but it was also for the community as a whole.
I was at Sheffield when the disaster occurred with the Liverpool game. The reports that came out afterwards and the recommendations for safety in Stadia Ground also had an influence in what I would like to achieve and do. Because, you know, up until then most fans had been treated as animals in cages and things, which were wrong, very badly wrong.
Both the football ground and the rugby league ground were falling a long way short of government requirements. Both clubs were kind of forced into a situation where they needed to find a new home.
The opportunity came when the rugby club had a problem financially and was getting into difficulty. The local authority didn't really want to invest or support them on their current site, which was the old Fartown ground. We were, shall we say, not making money as Huddersfield Town Football Club. And so I went to the leader of the council, John Harmon, and said that I would very much like to create a new stadium.
We needed to be sure this wasn't just another, if I might say so, harebrained scheme cooked up by an over-ambitious club. It did look very ambitious to begin with, but Graham came along and convinced us that it was achievable.
We had a small group of people. You had Graham and his friends from the private sector that showed a lot of vision and leadership. We had an inspirational council leader called John Harmon, now Sir John Harmon, who was a really good chief executive called Rob Hughes. And you had me, who was trying to knit this together by bringing the private sector and the public sector together.
I just couldn't understand why you'd want to get involved in a football club, because you're going to blow money, whatever happens, you're going to be unpopular, etc., etc., etc. And of course he did, and all those things did happen, and we lost a lot of money in that investment.
It was 3 years out of my life completely. As a charity, I wasn't paid anything, I never drew any money. And it was very much an exciting challenge to stamp one's capabilities in a local area where you were living for the benefit of the whole community.
We called it at the time, we referred to it as a flagship, but it was meant to show that the town was going somewhere, and that's what it did, because it got national recognition. It was Building of the Year in, I think, 1993 or 4, I can't remember. People looked at it and said, that's in Huddersfield?
I think another key area was the appointment of Rod Shade at Lob Partnership in the design. I drew a heart on the Ordnance Survey map, so you had the river down one side and you had the backcloth of the hills on the other, etc. And he was the only architect that phoned me up and said, is it really about the community? Is it really about beating? Is it real? And I said, 24/7. That's all I said.
You know, the facilities here are top class. Everybody, as soon as Galpharm was opened, everyone came from wide, and far to copy it.
And both clubs have a phenomenal influence of the local economy, because if they lose on a Monday, the work rate drops about 50%. People are depressed, they're upset, they're annoyed. The spin-off effect is quite alarming, actually, when you look at the statistics.
The stadium sets the tone of the town. Why would you want a second-rate shopping centre if you've got the stadium down the road that is, super class?
This stadium is part of a bigger package. It's part of a very good education system with one of the best sixth form colleges in the country and a good university. It's part of an area which has good housing opportunities, good recreational and leisure facilities, not just this, but in the arts, theatre, music and so forth. And when you put all that together, it makes it a much more attractive package for investment.
We were lucky we had the leadership of the council with the private sector, and we were lucky that someone had the vision to say, look, you know, doing this together as a joint venture could be path-breaking.
That energy, that spark, that enthusiasm, almost, as I said, childlike enthusiasm at times, that got everybody together at the time. The rugby club wouldn't talk to the football club, and neither of them would talk to the council well. And to get them all round the table and to manage that situation with his charm and enthusiasm was probably, in my opinion, his greatest ever achievement.